This is a PvP gearing guide for World of Warcraft Dragonflight. I'm going to show you how to get geared up fast for PvP, where the vendors are, how to get honor and bloody tokens fast, what are bloody tokens, all that. Let's go ahead and get right into how to get geared for PvP fast. First off, you're going to want to go ahead and get to level 70 before even bothering with any of this, and I'd recommend getting your dragon leveled up if you want to go for the bloody token route, which you can do by getting dragon glyphs all over the map. I'll have a video on how to get all those and how to get your dragon leveled up in the description of this video below the first paragraph. That helps out a lot if you're trying to get bloody tokens, a lot. I also have a video about best bloody token farming if you want to check that out to get more bloody tokens. But generally, to get bloody tokens, you have to have war mode on. And then really the best way to do it is just go out and do stuff outside of the main city. And then there's a chance that a message will pop up that tells you about an airdrop. And then you'll see on the map, it'll be flying across. And you'll go to where it stops and then see if you can, secure it with the rest of the Alliance or the Horde, depending on what you're playing as. And that'll give 200 bloody tokens first time each day and then 50 for each one afterwards. That's like the best way to get bloody tokens. You also get them from killing other players and also PvP world quests, if any are available. When you look through and these quests like this, if any of these are PvP ones, then they'll also give 50 bloody tokens. Also, to get bloody tokens from world PvP, you have to have war mode on. Each kill will give you 1 bloody token. You'll also get honor from those, but really honor, your main thing for honor is going to be to use the group finder, go to player versus player, and do battlegrounds. Now, realistically, you'll want to do the random battlegrounds so that if you win, you'll get bonus honor. That'll speed the process up. And if you are on Horde or you're on Alliance or whatever, and your side loses all the time, you can actually swap sides as a mercenary, which I'll show you now. So, I am right now at the center of Val Draken, which most of you probably know this spot if you're level 70. It's where the auctioneers and stuff. So you're going to head over this way to the northwest. And then first building on your right is like the PvP corridor. This is where everything is with PvP. This is the vendor for bloody tokens. Bloody tokens let you buy drakebreaker gear. It has a set bonus. And realistically, most of you only really need the 4 set bonus. The 6 set bonus, I mean, it can be nice, but realistically, it's like, there's a trade-off. It just depends. So you can get it if the stats work out for you, because the different gear has different stats. So so from my perspective as a healer, critical strike, versatility, all that stuff, like this critical strike, haste, mastery, versatility. Now, me personally, as a healer, I just really want haste, versatility with only a little sprinkle of critical strike and mastery just to get like that first little burst of it. So when I pick my gear and I'm refining what gear I have, I'm going to look at this, and sometimes the Dawnbreaker gear won't give you what you want. Like this case, it's critical strike and versatility on this waist. I may want haste and versatility, for example. So you kind of want to, when you mix and match these, you're only going to want to get the Dawnbreaker gear that you need for your stats and the set bonus. You don't need only Dawnbreaker gear for no reason. It is level 366, but the honor gear can also go 366, which I'll explain here in a second. The honor gear guy is on the back side of the room, and this guy will sell you 2 different sets that you can pick from for a lot of the gear, and it'll give different stats. So like there's a head right here that gives critical strike and versatility, but on the next page there's another headpiece for me that gives haste and versatility. So, if depending on what stats you want, you're going to want to take your time for each class that you are or whatever and go through here and be like, okay, this one gives whatever. Oh, I don't want those stats. I want this and that instead. Then you'll check one vendor, and then you'll check the other, and then you try to figure out, okay, how can you get your Dawnbreaker set without giving up the stats that you necessarily want. Also, the honor vendor is the only one that has jewelry and also has trinkets, which you're definitely, no matter what, you're going to want the Crimson Aspirant's Medallion. This is the generic, I forget what it was called in the older versions of WoW, but it's the remove all movement impairing effects and, whatever, get rid of all CC on you. And unless you have another trinket that you really want to use in PvP, it's best just get 2 PvP trinkets because they have a set bonus that gives an obscene amount of stats. So in my case, 1,431 stamina, 501 intellect. So definitely consider getting both of those. And then as for the jewelry and stuff, you'll probably want this because of the next thing I need to tell you about, which is this equipment. Any of this PvP equipment, if you didn't notice already, it says equip increases item level to 411 in arenas and battlegrounds. So for battlegrounds and arenas, when you have this gear on, you're just immediately jumped up to 411 or 408 for the Dawnbreaker set. So your goal for PvP gearing is just get a piece of everything on as fast as you can, assuming just battlegrounds is what you're doing. World PvP, it's a little different, right? You don't necessarily need this for PvP gear, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so you just throw on a piece of everything. So then when you go in battlegrounds, you'll have like 300 to 400,000 HP and just be a beast basically and just wrecking the place. So yeah, that's your goal, to get as fast as possible. Honor is going to be the easiest way to get a full set of 411 PvP gear for the arenas and battlegrounds. But bloody tokens are insanely good to get that set bonus, because you can see my set bonus there. That shield is so good. That shield is so darn good having the 4 set. So definitely consider that. We'll also notice the PvP honor gear is item level 340, whereas the Dawnbreaker is 366. Well, actually, you can get to 340. You'll see upgrade level 1 of 5. Well, basically, in order to get it up, you have to buy it 5 times. So what happens, you buy it once and you equip it, and then you go over to this person and it's item upgrades, and you can pick the honor gear, and then you can basically buy it again to upgrade it, or you can do all in one go, upgrade to level 5, and then you'll see it gives a different stat bonus then. It gives more stats, so the chest is more obvious. Level 5, I'll go from 494 stamina to 632. The increased item level in the battlegrounds does not go up with this, however. But your world PvP and just outdoing dungeons and stuff, it will be better. So definitely consider upgrading that. And there are some vendors and stuff that are not activated yet. I assume they're going to activate in the next few weeks or whatever as the expansions come out. I'll show you them in just a second. But last thing we can actually use in here that I want to show you is, at least for the Horde, there's this guy. Maybe, I don't know from the Alliance if there's a Horde guy here, or if there's one somewhere else to go Alliance, because for me, there's literally no other NPC unless it's that guy over there, but I somehow doubt it. But at least for Horde, there's this one, and you talk to him, and you'll say, I want to fight alongside the Alliance now. I'll get this buff for 1 hour. That makes it so when I go into Battleground, I'll be with the Alliance instead. So if you find that your side is just doing terrible and losing every single Battleground, and you just want to get your rewards and get your honor faster, you can always swap it out, assuming that the other guy's somewhere in here. I don't know. I've never played Alliance. I assume there's one in here if you're Alliance that I can't see as Horde, but I actually don't know for sure. But yeah, that gives you a 1 hour buff, and make sure that you have a mount that is faction neutral. If you don't have a faction neutral mount, you won't be able to mount up when you go into the battlegrounds then once you do this. So I went and I bought a Garn Night Howl from the auction house. You can just buy this one. This is the cheapest one when I looked. So if you need one, just go snatch up one of those or something like that. Then you'll have a faction neutral mount, and then you'll be good to go, and you can, fight for the other side and still be able to mount up in the battlegrounds, even though you're on the opposite side. Now, like I was saying, there's some vendors that don't have anything yet. There's Elite Conquest Quartermaster. They have nothing for sale. There's Conquest Quartermaster. They have nothing for sale. Unless there's some dumb thing that's really obvious that I don't know about how those ones work, and then someone will comment and let me know, which will make me feel really bad about myself, but that's okay. But then there's this one over here who also gets PvP quests. I don't know if it's a daily or one time or what, but you can get some, rep with some of the factions doing some PvP stuff. But more importantly, this person has Drakebreaker gear that is epic instead of blue, and will increase your item level to 421 in arenas and battlegrounds instead of 411. The only problem with this gear is, as far as I'm aware, there's no way to get it yet. I tried to do some research. I couldn't find the answers. You need the old piece of gear in order to get it, and you need 5 trophies of strife. But as far as I'm aware, there's no way to get these yet. I tried researching, and I couldn't find any information on how to get them. So the assumption is that sometime in the next, patch cycle or 2, they'll be adding whatever it is to get these trophies of strife. And then, for every 5 of those, or I'm not depending on the piece, some of them like 10 and stuff, or 14. But you get a bunch of those, and you get the old Drakebreaker piece, and then you can upgrade it to an epic Drakebreaker piece, which they still have the set bonuses, and the ones that don't have their cloaks and weapons and stuff. So same thing, just stronger. So when that comes out, you'll also do that for the Drakebreaker set, and we'll see whenever that comes out. They may also have options for to do stuff with honor gear as well. I will just have to see, because there's like the empty vendors over there. So there's more to come in the future. But for now, it's mainly just this vendor right there and the honor vendor. Mix and match, and you get the stats you want while also trying to get the set bonus. And then also for PvP, don't forget about these things, although you might just want to save your money. It just depends. 10 Rousing Ire, which when I made this video was like 300 to 500 gold for each one of these. But you can get some OP stuff that you can use in the battlegrounds, or I guess just wherever. I thought these were battlegrounds only, but maybe not. It doesn't say anything about it. Like this one where you get 150% movement speed for 12 seconds, 5 charges. So if you're into throwing gold, converting your gold into PvP fun, then definitely consider buying these 4 things and using them. They're all kind of nice. Mainly this one's the OP one, the Wild Dragon Fruit, but the other ones have their uses as well. So consider buying that also for PvP. Also, don't forget that once you get your gear, that you should consider getting enchantments on them and putting like spell threads or whatever else, you know, those different little things you can put on to enhance them. Consider doing that as well to get an extra bonus in PvP, so you'll be even stronger. And other than that, it's your pretty standard stuff. So then there's one last thing I want to touch on here with PvP, which is world PvP. So these things, when they're in the battlegrounds, they're like, when I made this video at least, they're pretty much the best thing you can get. When raids come out, you can maybe get like 418 gear or something like that from raids and crafting and stuff. Maybe a little bit higher, like 430 or something. Then that will technically be a little bit better than this. But until that comes out and everyone actually gets that stuff, this is the best you can do. But in world PvP, this stuff's like just mediocre. I mean, the set bonus is insanely good for drakebreakers. I always recommend at least 4 drakebreakers gear in order to get that. Basically, it's like a self-heal that can happen once every 2 minutes. It's pretty good. But other than that, you're going to want to get actual crazy gear, like this thing, for example. That's 389 gear or item level, regardless of whether I'm in a battleground or not. So you still want to continue your grind to try to get normal item level stuff. Not just for world PvP, but you might as well for dungeons and raids and stuff like that. And to get started on that, you can, once you complete the main storyline, there are these random quests that'll get you, you know, a set of like 359, 360 stuff that you could consider getting. Although that's kind of just comparable to drakebreaker, so it's not necessarily super worth your time. But then there was like the Cobalt Assembly vendor. And if you get enough rep with the Cobalt Assembly, you can buy that ring I showed you. There's 2 other counterpart rings that do different things. They're all that same level. If you get expedition, or not expedition, if you get rep with these 4 places, each one of them, as you get near the end, they'll give you somewhere in here, each one has a piece of gear that you can get. I'm not sure where it is in this one, but each one is going to be super high level gear, like 389 or something like that, and also give you a piece of thing that you need in order to craft super high gear, which then that's going to be a whole nother video about the crafting stuff, because you can go to crafting and you can make, like, for example, these things, but you only need a spark of ingenuity, and there's only 1 of those so far that you can get from the main story. Later, they'll be slowly releasing them, and then eventually have a way to get them from, like, dungeons or something like that after, you know, 5 of them are released, apparently, is what I heard. But that's, like, you know, that's for the days and weeks from now, not right now. But you can work towards that. Be aware. You can work towards that. You make one of these. You can infuse it with Primal Infusion or Concentrated Primal Infusion. You go all the way to 418. So, you know, that could go even further right now if you had the ability to somehow get all that, which you technically don't because of the sparks of ingenuity. But yeah, so faction rep grind, get some stuff. There's also super rares that will drop based upon your current item level. So I have a video about that if you want to check it out. There's a bunch of super rares that you can kill, and they can potentially drop all the way up to 385. So that's another way to get geared for world PvP if you want to do that. But that's pretty much everything related to PvP. So I just wanted to cover up your PvP. My main focus was like the basics, you know, the honor guy, the bloody token guy. Again, in the description of this video, I've got links to bloody token farming guide, how to get all the dragon glyphs so that you can get the bloody tokens more easily. You definitely want to get all the dragon glyphs before trying to get the bloody tokens. Oh my god, it's so important. And whatever else. I forgot I had some other video that was related to this. I already forgot what it was. But yeah, so check the description of this video for those helpful resources. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That is how to gear up for PvP in this expansion. It's pretty much simple. It's pretty straightforward stuff. So now you know how PvP gearing works in World of Warcraft Dragonflight.